That's annoying.
It's like at the end, and for everybody that's watching right now, we're just me and Kyle are chatting, so hold your horses. But like I hate it when you end these and go, okay, bye everybody, end it, and then it goes, do you want to end again? Then you have to like act like an asshole, like you have to do stuff for an extra 3 to 5 seconds, like you're not sure what's going on because fucking yeah, 2 buttons. I get it because God forbid you accidentally click it. You know what I mean? And then you end up broadcast. So anyway, all that being said, what's going on, everybody? Mystery beers on a Tuesday, which is not. I've posted mystery beers not on Monday, so I'm not worried about it. This is a Kyle and Matt show. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Matt? How you doing, man?
Did you want to tell everybody why we're doing these, or me?
Well, it's your channel. I can do the next one.
Okay, considering it's on both channels right now.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
I will say this when you do the next one. How about that? So for those that aren't aware of Max is a maniac, and he sends beers, and he decided to send off a box of beers. See, really, what happened was Steven sent a box of beer to Kyle, and Max went, "I'm not going to put up with that fucking shit," and decided to double down on it and sent a box to not just me and Kyle, but also the Nerd Sense guys. But the Nerd Sense guys box never landed, which is really, really frustrating because not only did Max send us all beers, he actually paired up all of our mystery beers so that we could review them however we wanted. It's not like he laid out some kind of stipulation to it. It was more like do whatever you want, but it'd be cool to see you guys do some joint reviews and stuff like that. So Kyle and I have number 2 in that list. We have no idea what it is. And we're going to be drinking it mystery beer styling. The Nerd Sense guys are going to have to sit this one out. So what we're going to do is we're going to review this number 2. We're going to sit and chat and do all that fun stuff. Then we're actually going to dip off and we're going to do number 4. We'll basically end this broadcast. We will start a new broadcast at number 4. That's why it's a little bit easier for people to digest when they're looking for beer reviews. And then we'll go from there. And then me and Kyle have 2 more that we actually need to get in. So you'll see us do that eventually. Let's put it that way. So, what's the last mystery beer you did? Or what's the last mystery beer you posted? Let's put it that way.
I actually posted that one for the first one from Max today. So the beer that we shall not talk about in case no one's watched it yet. Yeah.
For those that don't know, I reviewed the same beer that Kyle reviewed today on my channel on Monday, yesterday. So what you need to actually do is at the stroke of midnight, you need to put the Pink Floyd album, The Wall, on exactly at midnight and hit play on both of our channels at the same time. And then at the exact same time, nothing really happens. So, but yeah, go. Yeah, stuff like that. So let's go into comments before we dive into this. Jordan was in before we actually went on. He said beer time. WH in here just cracked some hazy. I usually don't have beers before I do a mystery beer, but I figured I'd do a review before I popped on. Bill Bach chiming in saying good evening, guys. What's going on, Bill? BC chiming in saying cheers. And Ronald Sutton chiming in saying etched in stone. I told you points and under. Cashed in big time. I'm in the money now. Actually, no, it was called the referees are super biased, and that's what happened. I didn't factor in the referees calling every single play against the fucking the Chiefs and then against the Bucks to the point where there should be a federal investigation into point shaving and match fixing. And then Steven chiming in saying, every evening, gents. Steven is currently atop the King Shit Fuck Mountain, Mount Rushmore of beer males. And there we go. So let's just do this. He says, Matt, come on, don't believe it. No, it's true, dude. Go No, dude, that trip on Evans was bullshit because that was incidental contact. Literally incidental contact. That personal PI against fucking Matthew was literally should have been against fucking Brady. You know what I mean? Like, and the 2 of the other pass interference, the one on the interception, all that stuff didn't exist. It just didn't. You give those plays, if you let those play out the way they normally do, the Chiefs, I'm not saying the Chiefs are blowing them out, but they're in the game and it's a much different, much different game. Yeah, but Bucks pressured Mahomes 29 times because once you get every penalty thrown at you, then you don't know what to do. You start doing all kinds of crazy shit because you have no choice to win the game. It's a cumulative effect. We all know this. If you don't know this, and you're not a real football fan. Anyway, here we go. So let's do a mystery beer. And we can ignore them now. We don't even have to talk to them. Because I can hear him make subtle jabs about Tom Brady's a system quarterback and he sucks. So let's do this. Before we dive into it, mystery beer first. Let's guess the beer before you even open it.
Well, I mean, it's a 12 or a 16-ounce can, so it's going to be a hazy double IPA, New England style. I don't know. Based on, I'm going to say Trillium.
I think it's going to be smoked beer, Marzen. Smoked Marzen, like a Roche beer.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Anyway, let's crack into it. I got my itty bitty glasses going on. So it's definitely a hazy. At least we know.
The very oxidized hazy.
No, I think that's pretty spot on, man. It's got this vibrant orange glow to it. You know what I mean? It's got this just rich, you know what I mean? Soft, succulent haziness to it. I mean, you just smell, you can see the hops literally punching out of the glass. Yeah, it's some kind of burly big ass stout. So
yeah,
game here that could be smoked in some form or fashion. So at least I still got a game, a horse in the game, not like Tom Brady in his cheating ways. Anyway,
yeah, it's not going to be like a black IPA, I don't think. So yeah, I think I'm wrong at this point.
Yeah, it poured out more like motor oil than a Cascadian Dark. That's what he's saying there. So yeah. So it'd be interesting to dive into the other one. The other one's a smaller can, the number 2, and that's probably just going to be like Miller, not even Miller High Life. Nothing good. It'll be like Miller Iced or something like that. So yeah, look at that nose, baby. I'm telling you right now, man. It's not gigantic. It's just kind of like a basic milk stout to me in the nose. I'm not getting a ton of stuff off of it. You may.
Yeah. It's definitely milk stouty. It's not barrel wood, but it kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a soft wet wood, like you're on the woods, like for a walk. But it's definitely milk stouty. A little bit of roast coming through.
No, not that bad. You always kind of echo just a micron, but not that much, just because you're in like a room with like a lot of hard objects. But it's not like echoing. Now that you say soft wood, I will go a step further and play off of what we've said. I could see this having something in it like a Casara wood or a gum. What's that one? What's the one that Dogfish Head likes to use? Pontasalo, something, yeah, something like that, like something. It's probably not there, but you planted that seed in my head, kind of like the Bucks planted the seed of those penalties of referees' heads. So in that sense, the way that goes, it definitely has me leaning into that. So
I'm not getting like any, like I don't smell vanilla or cinnamon or anything like that. So I'm not getting, I don't know, I'm not getting much in that way.
Let's cheat. Okay, it's not old. So yeah, I mean, it smells like a milk stout, honestly, and it could have a little bit of soft kind of, you know what I mean? Some kind of adjunct in it that is soft, like hazelnut or almond or something very low in the spectrum as far as an adjunct, because it doesn't smell like a base milk stout. So that's my 2 cents. Cheers, brother.
It's very, I mean, there's roast to it, but it's very sweet. So I'm definitely sticking with that maple, or sticking with the milk stout. But because of how sweet it is, I don't think it has maple syrup or something in it. But
No, I get what you're saying. It tastes like there's something that makes it sweeter than what you would normally get from a base stout with lactose in it, and because even though it is sweeter, the sweetness isn't a lactose sweetness, so you assume there's some kind of adjunct adding sweetness to it. But maple syrup would be way too apparent. Like it would be like, oh, that's maple syrup. No shit, Sherlock. So it almost like there's something else added to it. Like I know breweries don't fuck around. I know breweries fuck around every time and put like sugar in it and stuff like that, like brown sugar and stuff. But I don't think that's the case.
You could also tell me that there's, I don't think there's coffee in it, but you could tell me there was chocolate added, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not quite there to say there's definitely like cacao nibs or something, but I'm at the point where I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if it does have that in there. I do think it's a milk stout. I mean, it has that sweetness, but yeah, there might be an additional thing, marshmallows or something like that, that's maybe adding some sweetness. And again, it's not kicking out too much vanilla between the lactose and potentially marshmallow or something.
Sorry, I'm just comments real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, do you want me to keep talking or not talk?
No, you could talk. I'm talking shit in the comments.
Oh, I thought you were looking something up.
No.
Oh,
you know what the best part is? Is it commented from you too?
Yeah.
So you're shit talking. Yes.
Yeah. No, I watched the Super Bowl for the commercial, so I kind of understand the references being said right now, but not much. Yeah. Of potential adjuncts, and Max is messing with me because when I did the unboxing, I did a live stream, and the seal was broken a little bit, and Joe from the Beer Patrol was watching. He's like, "You got to drink it right now," and I'm like, "Okay." And I did it. I didn't even have a glass; I just did it out of the can. And that one, I won't spoil anything, especially because I don't know if Matt's had it yet. I don't remember what number it was. Had a lot of adjuncts in it, and then the one I did post today had no adjuncts in it. So I don't know. It just makes me think like he's willing to send any kind of a beer, adjuncted or not. So it's messing with me. And what's really messing with me too is like it's just enough paper towel, like that you can just barely not see what the label is.
Yeah.
He's like a mad scientist. He's like, I know the exact ratio of paper towel to drive you crazy, where you can almost maybe see a label behind it. We think about the ABV. You're better at that than I am. I'm not very good at guessing ABVs.
I actually have no idea. I'm going to give an ABV, but I'm not confident about it. I just want to figure out what the beer is first, what I want to say the beer is first before. So it's a milk stout, but there's something more to it. It almost like the way the sweetness comes off for me, it comes off for me like a spirit sweetness, but it doesn't have the barrel or the ABV of a spirit to it. So it's kind of one of those things where in a knee-jerk reaction, because it's a milk stout, but it also is kind of sort of a little bit thin for how for the kind of beer it is, for how dark it is and dense it is. It's probably knee-jerk reaction, probably mid to high 9s, but it drinks more like 6 to 7%. But I think that has to do with the body being thinned out, which makes you think it's a barrel, but it's not. So, what is it? I'm going to go honestly, this tastes like a blueberry coffee double shot from Treehouse. So it's almost like a milk stout with coffee, but that coffee is like a blueberry, like a fruited coffee, like a blueberry coffee stout. And I want to say Treehouse only because I just want to.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Treehouse milk stout. It has that sweetness. It has that chocolate I get in a lot of them. If it does have coffee, you could trick me into thinking it's just the base beer like that. Like to me, the roastiness isn't.
I'm not getting coffee on it at all. I'm just thinking it's in like imparting some kind of flavor that I could confuse a blueberry coffee. But I'm not. I'm not saying this is a coffee stout. I know that doesn't make much sense. I'm guessing it is something like that. I'm just not getting the coffee.
I like what you were saying about the ABV because I was thinking 8, and you're saying you think it's 9-ish, but then drinking more like the 7-ish, and then I was already thinking like the 8. So I'll stick with my 8 ABV. It's a milk stout. And you know what? I'll say there's some chocolate or cacao nibs in it because that syrupy thing. It's actually to me a little like chocolate syrup, like Hershey's chocolate syrup. So I'll go on the limb and say I think there might be some chocolate in this.
Okay, what's that? So you're saying a milk stout with chocolate in it, and it's at what would you say the ABV?
I'll say 8%. I'll stick to my gut.
I'll go 9.4, some kind of fruit like blueberry, like blueberry coffee, like some kind of bullshit like that, which Treehouse would never do. Treehouse beer. Okay, I'm ready to reveal if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm thinking who else could be besides them. What was this? Marlowe, who I know quite a bit. Stout brewed with honey and maple syrup. See, there is maple syrup in it, but it's honestly like the maple syrup doesn't come through. That honey comes through way more for me. Like the sweetness of the honey and the maple come through way more for me than the actual maple syrup.
And 9.9, wow.
Yeah, I knew it was higher in ABV. I just didn't have the balls to go that high.
And I mean, I guess the honey and the maple makes sense in terms of how sweet it is. I can't believe there's not lactose in this.
No, I'm very surprised about that too. And here's the thing about it, though. But I mean, and again, and this is me trying to walk the conversation back to where I sound more right, is that I could see this being like super heavily dosed with like a super crazy amount of oats to where it's like giving you lactose vibes with it. But it's like, it's not maple syrup. It's not like there's like, again, I'm not saying there's not maple syrup in it, but it's almost like, whole maple. You ever drink maple syrup like before it gets processed, like the water?
Yeah, sap. Yeah.
It's almost like it's brewed with that as opposed to refined processed maple syrup. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they use that as opposed to the actual processed stuff. Does that make any sense?
Oh no, I literally grew up making maple syrup with my great grandfather. He had a sugar shack, and like we would collect the sap, and I would drink around the tree. So like I vividly know what you're talking about, and no, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just shocked this is not lactose. Like it was milk stout from the get go. Wish I kept that thread of maple syrup instead of the milk stout thing, but it's a good beer too. You're good about mentioning that after the fact, and I think the same thing often. Like just talking about it as a good beer or not before the reveal. I do like the taste of this beer. Like it's the delicious beer, but
it's tasty. Listen, Marlowe is on my short list of breweries I love. Okay. So I want to say nice things about them. You know what I mean? They're like, I believe it was and somebody in the chat will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's an ex-brewer from Kent Falls. You've probably had stuff from Kent Falls because they're not too far away from you. And he makes really tasty beers, and not just the really tasty beers. He's got this, let's put it this way. He's got a really big soft spot for like low 5 to mid 6% pale ales and drinkable beers. So that's why I like them so much, and they're really well made. This is just a little bit too sweet for me. But here's the thing. Like this is kind of the opposite of some of those breweries. Like one of the big ones in and around our area right now would be like either Timber Ales or they would be Nightmare Brewing, where everything is just sweet on sweet on sweet on sweet on sweet on sweet. Huge, gigantic sweet on sweet beers. You're talking about a 9.9%, essentially a 10% maple honey beer. You toss one of these out of the chute every 6 to 12 months, I'm happy. If this is what you're making every 2 weeks, you're probably not a brewery I'm drinking all that much, and that's just personal preference, but that's how I go. Yeah.
Whereas I love sweet things, which is probably why this is really good to me. Like I love sweet, so yeah.
Man, I gotta start chugging water down because the next beer is gonna be like a 3% fucking table beer.
Seriously.
So, has anybody in the actual chat? Because we have 20 people watching right now. I'm curious to see if anybody's had this before. Have anybody had anything from Marlowe before? I mean, they're not super popular, but they're distributed out of 12% Beer Project, which they cover pretty much all the New England area down to, I think, Delaware out to Ohio. You've probably seen a bunch of their stuff, Kyle, and just didn't know. Fat Orange Cat is 12%.
Oh, yes.
12%. Like they're like 12% cover. Like basically, they distribute a ton of breweries, but they also have a collective brewery where people go and brew and they distribute the beer. So they have like people go, like they almost have like, think about a brewery where a brewery does like contract brewing. Like 12% has their own facility to where they'll have small brewers come in and brew beer, and they already have their facility for canning and everything there because they're a distributor, and they have all these breweries. That's how Abomination Brewing and those breweries do it. They don't brew in their own system and can. They go to 12% and they brew and they can there, and then they leave. So it's like this kind of process. So they do a lot of like, I don't know, what would you call that? Like think tank brewing or some bullshit.
Yeah, that's probably the best term for it.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, I mean, based off of like, I know you like sweeter stuff, so you're probably going to like this a little bit more than me, but based off of recent memory, what would be like, is this one of the better adjunct stouts you've had as of late, or like?
I wouldn't say that. No. No, I don't know. I have had better for sure in lately, but it's weird. Like I was saying when I said I don't know if there's adjuncts in this or not. These are weird adjuncts because they just kind of add to the sweetness of the beer. It's not, which is, if it was coffee, it would add some of that roastiness to what the roast that's already existent. So like there is sweetness to the beer. This is adding more sweetness. So I mean they are proper adjuncts, but not how I think of adjuncts. Like vanilla, oh, there's an adjunct. But yeah, so it's kind of funny in my mind. I'm not even thinking of this as an adjuncted stout. It clearly is. But yeah, it wouldn't. It's not dethroning anyone recent anyway in terms of being an adjuncted stout. But it really does that chocolatiness that the base beer has with this added sweetness just really comes across as Hershey syrup. So to me, it's a really nice dessert beer. Maybe one of the better dessert beers I've had lately.
Okay. Oh, I forgot. You son of a bitch. Okay. I'm trying to get our other stream going while you're talking, but it won't let me do it. Red bastard. How do I go back here? There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So yeah, I mean, even like we have in the comments here, we have Matt Midier saying we apparently get some Marlowe stuff in here in Chicago. So it basically, if you see Marlowe wherever you live, you're getting 12%. So that's like that. Like they're kind of like the distributing company that's driving a lot of beer out and around the kind of area. On both channels, got to support my brother here. Yeah, look at that, Beer Patrol. Understanding that we're streaming live in direct and stereo. You should have them both channels on each side of your head. And this is a weird thing. I wonder if we have like way less views because we split them, or like people bounce back and forth. I don't know. I don't really care. But Justin chiming in is that Adroit Theory does this a lot. I think Adroit Theory hates me because I always want to call them Android Theory. And I've said it for years, and I think they genuinely, secretly hate me for that. Anyway, never heard of or seen here in Central Ohio. Yeah, they're small, but they're on the come up. So you know, I might just need. It's one of those. Their labels are usually kind of watercolor like, kind of how this one is, kind of watercolor painting. They're typically not black and white. They're usually colored. So they're not something that is like graphically going to jump out at you. It's going to be a little bit more nondescript. So even if you're just ripping through a case with your eyes, just looking for something to catch your eye, they might not be that brewery that does that. But their logo is very distinct. It's that handwritten Marlowe, and that's probably the most prominent thing that pops out. So next time you're scanning, just keep that in mind. So yeah, you got anything else to add?
No. I like this beer.
There you go. We'll have a little bit more to save, unless you want finish it on camera and then wait till the other one. But I don't want to be drunk for the other one, so I'd rather just kind of move on. So yeah, there you go. This guy, if you're watching him on my channel right now, go subscribe to Kyle from the Hype Beer Reviews because he deserves every second of it. There you go.
And vice versa to Matt's channel. Massive Beer Reviews.
There we go. So, like I said, we're going to jump on the other one. It's probably going to be maybe 2 minutes. We're going to jump off here, go into the other one, come back in. We're going to do another mystery beer. So join us over there. Don't fret. We got some more time to go. So we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Cheers.